Mr. Wood, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Our only item of business is to consider introducing an ordinance for a rezoning map amendment request by Wells Land Development LLC to amend the proffers for tax map numbers 31-1-18, 31-1-108B, and 32-2-1B, located at 0 Forest Drive and 0 Bookerdale Drive, Waynesboro, Virginia, also known as the Silver Creek subdivision. Before we consider the item, I would like to communicate to our citizens regarding council's decision to hold this special called meeting. At each of its regular business meetings in April, City Council voted to table consideration of the applicant's request to amend the proffers of the undeveloped portion of the Silver Creek subdivision. At the April 27th meeting, council discussed the pros and cons of the motion to table and moved quickly to that vote without considering other options. I want to be clear, the City Council is committed to making an informed decision with due consideration of the interests of the applicant and property owners adjacent to and around the development. In striking the balance, I believe introduction of the ordinance acknowledges the need for timely consideration of the applicant's request without compromising the council's ability to weigh concerns expressed by citizens. Now I'll stop there and see if there's any remarks from council. Additionally, if anyone present wishes to speak on the matter, council will allow up to 4 minutes to do so. Yes, sir.
Wayne Nolde. I live at 1008 High Point Court, Waynesboro, Silver Creek Subdivision Phase 1. I've communicated by email with the council members previously and with the Planning Commission. And while those concerns are already known, you know, that we have the things about the traffic and all that, the point that was brought up at the city council meeting related to access to Bookerdale Road. And as I understood it from that meeting, that was the reason that the motion was tabled. So I would like an explanation from council as to how that question has been addressed in the meantime. I understand that the purpose of tabling was to give the applicant and the city more time to discuss it together and therefore reach a better understanding. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Jason Reamer, 2425 Forest Drive. I'm adjacent to this discussion. Thank you for what you're doing. I currently serve our federal government as a loaned position, and I understand how important it is to make good policy decisions. We moved here about 4 years ago. Found it to be a lovely city. Not many small cities, towns like this have the foresight that obviously has been demonstrated here with our parks, with the improvements. However, housing is important, but I feel would be unfair to put upon the citizens of Silver Creek Phase 1. We had to fulfill all the requirements for the homeowners association. And as I understand it, Silver Creek Phase 2 would have a totally different set of requirements. And I think the requirements ought to be the same. If we're going to have Phase 2, then it should be the same as Phase 1 as far as the requirements. Or consult the citizens, have the homeowners association vote on it, and go from there. Otherwise, let's rename it something else. I don't mind people having a place to live. I love where I live. However, it's easy to just throw up something quick, and it's not long-lasting. So I would ask the council to consider renaming it, have its own homeowners association. I agree with my friend, my neighbor here, about the bridge and the access. Bookerdale is, it's tough on that one-lane bridge right there, and plus there's potholes all on the road, and it really needs some, just for the city, it needs some work. So thanks for your consideration. Appreciate what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Melissa Stevens, 2424 Forest Drive. I'll echo what our neighbors had just said. I think one additional point that's kind of weighed on me is when the developer purchased this property, they would have had access to and understood the proffers that they were committing to in the purchase and further development of Phase 2 and beyond of the Silver Creek neighborhood. And based on that, I would agree with what Jason was saying, either require them to uphold those existing proffers or sever the two neighborhoods, understanding that they are different. When my husband, Mark, and I chose to purchase a lot in this subdivision, some of those proffers were things that we took into consideration in our purchase and something that, you know, we had a reason to expect those future phases would adhere to as well. So thank you guys. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Tony Everett. I live at 438 Cedar Avenue. I live adjacent to one of Wells's most recent projects. Have numerous concerns. He took a beautiful field, a little bit of green space, put several units on it. One of them is right on the property line. I don't know if it's the state mandated 4 or 5 feet. It looks like it's about 3 feet from the property line, but built it right next to a business with no barrier. He's got no less than 10 plastic PVC sewer cleanouts in the front yard of that field. It's an eyesore. Makes it very ugly. He's put no sidewalks up. He's done the bare minimum to get people in there, then walked away. It's been numerous litter. He's got boxes for crawl space access. They're full of litter. Got people that are noisy, see drug containers on the ground in the alleyway, and the business next to me their customers have to come through all that to get to his business. But he's got vinyl siding. It's already starting to buckle. In 2 or 3 years, it's going to be warped, distorted. It's going to be ugly. The alleyway that all of his tenants have to use to park, well, he brought in heavy equipment, put numerous potholes in that alleyway. He has done nothing to fix them. Even his tenants have to go through a huge pothole as soon as they enter the alleyway. But I've never seen it that bad. But I've tried to fill some of the potholes with gravel, but it needs a lot of that alleyway needs a lot of work, and it's a lot of traffic because of him going through it now. My yard, I have a transformer in my backyard. He dug up my backyard so he could tap into the transformer. They put the dirt back. They didn't put any grass seed down. And then I ended up with a huge sinkhole. I had to put a half a ton of dirt in that sinkhole, and I had to put my own grass seed down. I've got people turning around in my driveway, delivering food to the place because there's no front access. Emergency services are confused when they go there because there's no front access. But his buildings, they took away my mountain views. But the business next door, he's done a lot of damage to them. They have a residential front door 20 feet from a business entrance with no barrier. He asked the owners of the business if they had any objections, and they said no, but they didn't know the scope of the work being done. There's a corner over by a fire hydrant. I actually maintained it all the way to the sidewalk around the yield sign. I've maintained it since 2019. Since he's built those, I no longer do that, and he has the landscape people leave it high, thinking that somebody else is going to come in there and maintain it. I'm not going to do that for him. But please, thank you please take in consideration what I've told you. There need to be some controls. He needs to pay attention to details. From what I've seen, he does not. So please take that in consideration. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Judy Allman. I live at 2417 Bellevue. And I just have, in addition to what's been said at the planning meetings, the council meetings, and everything else, I just want to make sure you realize that there are currently 2 access roads that he said that there are, and they are 3 houses apart, literally. So all the cars that are coming up, and if he doesn't have to build that main road to Bookerdale until the 81st house is built, that means there's 80 houses, 2 cars each, 160 coming up those 2 ways that are 3 houses apart, all onto Bellevue. And that, to me, is a traffic problem. And everybody keeps saying, no, 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 but it is. In a quiet little neighborhood that we currently live in, having that many cars coming through that little area is a lot of cars. And when we purchased the house, you're all told that, oh, they're going to build that road to Bookerdale. When they start building all this, it's going to be a bridge and everything. Well, now that isn't going to happen until the end, the very end of this whole project. And that's just crazy. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. Mark Stevens, live at 24244 Forest Drive. Appreciate you all hearing and being mindful. Professionally, I work with developers, and my vocation is dependent upon development. So I'm sensitive to the moving parts and a lot of what you're considering. Zooming out a little bit, I don't know that it's reasonable to shift burden from a developer who purchased a property with zoning ordinance established in 2006 by Fairfax, the previous developer. I don't know it's reasonable to shift that toward our taxpayers. We're going to need that bridge at Bookerdale. I don't know when the last time I drove through there. It's a tough spot. And given the increased traffic count, it's going to be further problematic. Reviewed the notes from the staff provided from the working session. I believe it was earlier this week. And I've got a positive review of the professional staff in there and their notes and comments. Like to piggyback off what my neighbor said. That if and when we get a bridge, which is I believe given proffer number 2 may go away entirely in the zoning proposal, which I don't think it should. These these developments would stall. Silver Creek stalled once in the mid 2000s. Nothing to say it won't do it again, and we'll end up with 30 houses and no transportation improvements. We've got emergency services that are now being served off Lou DeWitt. One of the proffers that was in place was dealing with future construction traffic. That was tied into the proffer regarding the 15 to 25-year stormwater concern. But staff did not make comment on the, on dealing with construction traffic. And I think that matters. Pretty well everyone in Silver Creek was aware of the amendments, the homeowners association and the architectural and landscaping requirements, as well as very aware of the proffers established for future development. And I don't think it's reasonable to put upon those who followed rules to make it easier for someone else, to make it easier for a for-profit developer to provide housing. If this was a nonprofit affordable housing developer, you know, the conversation may be different, but I don't think it's fair to put upon the residents of that community as well as the tax base as a whole to make it easier for a market rate developer. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. Now, is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
Make the motion to introduce the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Vogt. Is there a second?
No, second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 4-0. This ordinance having been introduced, seconded, and discussed will be on the agenda for final consideration at the May 11th regular business meeting. I believe the city manager has an item.
Yes, sir, I do. As you know, we are in the process of finalizing a budget for the fiscal year 2027. Having exchanged some information, it appears to me that there is not a need for the scheduled work session on Monday, May the 4th. And accordingly, unless I get different guidance from council this afternoon, we'll instruct the clerk to cancel that meeting and notice as much.
Cancel.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Is there a second?
No, second.
Any discussion? Thank you, Mr.